for your submissions last week. I was really pleased with the quality of work that you're doing and just your adaptability and resilience and all of the above. So thank you. Continue to reach out with questions. One big reminder, this Wednesday, April 8th, your final project discussion board post is due. So go to our Canvas page and under discussions, I want you to pick 2 or 3 options that you want to consider for your final project. So the videos last week, the Wednesday video last week, gave a little more information, so you might want to revisit that. So today we're going to cover the stuff that you're going to prepare for next week. So if you go to page 167, we've been working so hard on chords and rhythm and everything. This is an opportunity for you to kind of let go a little bit. It's a structure for you to compose your own melody. So first of all, on page 167, I'm talking about number 1, the top of the page. So they give you the bass clef chords. They give you left hand chords. They tell you what they want you to play for the left hand. But your assignment is to make up a right hand melody to go with it. I'm going to step you through that a little bit. First of all, it says improvise 5-finger melodies in G major that blend with the left hand accompaniment. So they already tell you that you should put your right hand in a G 5-finger pattern. So your right hand thumb is on G, G, A, B, C, D. These 5 pitches, these 5 notes are going to be the ones that you use. Now, you are welcome to expand beyond that. I'm happy to hear something crazy all over the keyboard, but that's kind of the minimum requirement. Let's go through the left hand though. So first things first, you notice next to the treble and bass clef there's a sharp. And if we figure out what note lives on that line or space, the line in this case, the treble clef spaces are F, A, C, E, and then up 1 to F. So that's an F sharp. So that tells me that throughout this song, any Fs I need to play as F sharps. So scanning through the bass clef, you see how that sharp is on the line with the 2 dots? I'm scanning through and I find the 3rd chord. The middle note is an F, which means the middle note needs to be an F sharp. The 3rd chord is D, F sharp, A. And you might recall from learning all of our major keys, D major is white, black, white. I see that same chord on the 2nd line. Those are the only 2 F sharps. The 3rd chord in the 1st line, the 3rd chord in the 2nd line. So, if I were to go through the chords, the first one I see G is on bottom, so this is a G chord. The next measure C is on bottom, C chord. Next measure D is on bottom, and then back to G. Now the 2nd line's a little different. G, E on bottom, and this is actually an E minor chord, E, G, B, D major, and G. So if you want to write the chord names in, G major, C major, D major, G major, G major, E minor, D major, G major. So I practice my left hand all the way through. I'm going to go ahead and play the left hand 3 beats per chord so you can practice with me. Starting with my left hand pinky on G. Ready? And go. G, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, D, 2, 3, G, 2, 3. Line 2, G, 2, 3, okay. So that's our harmony. Those are our chords. Now we're going to come up with a right hand. Now, you can choose. If you want to take a pencil and write out exactly what you're going to play, that's fine. But if you want to wing it, that's fine too. Here's a general rule of thumb. Do you notice that when I play the G chord in my left hand, G, B, D, when my right hand is in a G 5-finger pattern, I can play notes that match that chord. So here's an example. If I'm holding a G chord in my left hand, and I play play a note that's not in that chord, let's say with my right hand I play a C. Do you hear how that clashes? A G chord in the left hand with a C in the right hand? But if I pick a note that is from this chord, G, B, D, what if in my right hand, when my left hand plays G major, what if I play B in my right hand? Do you hear how that fits much nicer as opposed to the C or the A? So we call this consonance. Consonance means notes that fit together. Dissonance are notes that clash. So when I'm making up a melody, yes, I can do whatever I want. But if I want to be a little thoughtful about it and make it sound like a melody, I might try to pick notes that fit each chord. So it might be a good idea to go through and think, okay, in my G chord, like I said, the notes that fit best are G, B, D. Now this gets a little more limiting. When my left hand goes to a C chord, think about the 3 notes in that C chord. All cows eat grass, C, E, G. I'm going to try to figure out which notes in my right hand G 5-finger pattern will match that chord. So if I play a C chord, C, E, G, I probably don't want to play a B here like I did last measure, because this B doesn't exist in this chord. Listen. Maybe you like that sound, but what if I play a G instead? G exists in this chord. Or a C. So I'm going through and I'm trying to decide what notes might fit. Now you're welcome to write out your whole melody, or you can just wing it on your recording. But I'm going to give you an example of, this is me winging it, of what I might do. As I'm playing, I'm using this thought process of what notes might fit. Now when you're improvising, I like to say you're always one note away from it sounding good. So let's say you're playing that C major chord and you hit a B and you don't like it. But what if you go up to the C? That actually becomes a cool sound. So if you hit a note that clashes, that's dissonant, it's okay. You're usually one note away from playing a note that's correct. So this is some trial and error. And those of you that are very rule-oriented and like things black and white, this is going to be a little more of a challenge, but try not to overthink it. It can be as simple or as complex as you want. You could do 1 note per measure. You could do tons of notes per measure. But here's an idea just of me coming up with something. I start with my G chord, and I'm going to start on that B that we talked about in the right hand. C to G, D, back to that B. Here's line 2. So what I was doing while I was playing was just thinking, okay, can I play notes in my right hand? They're kind of near the left hand chords. So you might need to do a few steps. Play the left hand chords, but then also just trust your ear. If you play something that you don't like, try a different note. Keep it simple. Doesn't need to be anything too complicated. Let me know if you have questions. So you're going to just record yourself playing through that example. Okay. Next thing, if you go to page 175, now we haven't been able to play together, play any duets, which is so sad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post on this assignment an audio recording of myself playing the duet. The teacher duet is on page 176. You are going to play page 175. Now we're just doing the first 2 lines this week. For extra credit, you're welcome to do the whole thing. So for the recording, if you're able, if you have 2 devices, I would love for you to submit a recording of you playing with the audio recording I post. If you can't, it's okay. It's just something to encourage, a duet and also to help you keep the beat. Okay, so the first 2 lines here. First of all, I want you to remember next to the treble and bass clef, there's a C Normally I'd ask, does anyone know what that is? Common time. 4/4 is so common. I don't know what other word to use, that it's abbreviated with a C. So that means 4 beats in a measure. Do you notice that we start with only one note and then there's a full measure? That's called a pickup measure. We don't always like to start with four full beats, so it's okay for just the first measure to break the rules. Now, if I'm trying to figure out my position, I name my notes. So in the treble clef, the spaces are F, A, C, E. I notice that my right hand pinky, 5, starts on E. Left hand, all cows eat grass. All cows eat. Left hand, thumb on E. This is A minor position. All white keys, there are no sharps or flats in here. You're welcome. We're in an A position, A minor position. And as you scan through, you might notice, the 2 lines are moving in the same direction. Yes, your fingers are playing the same note names, so when your right hand plays E, your left hand plays E, all the way through. So the next step would be to go through and look for some of your intervals, your steps and skips. So I notice going from the first note to the second note, it's space, space. So that's a skip. I can also name E to C. I notice from E to C on the piano, I'm skipping D. Remember, that's why we call it a skip. So I see skip, step down. Back to E, skip, step down. So those are my first 2, I call those phrases underneath the slurs. The first 2 phrases are E, skip, step, down. E, skip, step, down. Okay, not so bad. Those are the 2 identical phrases. Then the next note is a C, step down, back up to E. You want to use that top E as a landmark. It's the top space in the treble clef and the 3rd space in the bass clef. So C, B, E, E, B, C, E, E. So that next phrase, starting at the end of measure 2, the C to the B is C, B, E, E, B, C, E, E. Going on, these next 2 little phrases are identical to the beginning. E, skip, step, down. E, skip, step, down. Then this last phrase, C, B, E, G. Try it. C, B, E. I said the wrong letter. A. C, B, E, A. Hopefully you caught that. So I'm going to go ahead and play through these first 2 lines. Ready? Go. Be my guest. All right, that's all for today. Please message me with questions and fill out your discussion board by Wednesday. Please. Have a good one.